All right, so we're diving deep today into what it really means to, uh, you know, really succeed at learning English as a second language.
Yeah.
Not, just the textbook stuff, but like
Yeah,
really,
but getting into the nitty-gritty.
yeah. And the source material we have, it's actually laid out as a conversation,
Oh, cool.
which I have to say makes it a really enjoyable read.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what we're going to be doing today, kind of, pulling out those actionable takeaways, those aha moments.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, I think one thing that really struck me as I was reading this is how much it emphasizes mindset.
Yeah.
It's not just about, memorizing verb conjugations or vocabulary lists. It's really about having the right attitude and approach.
Absolutely. And they get right into it. Like from the first question, what does success actually mean when it comes to learning English?
Right.
And they don't go for the easy answer.
No, they don't. They
No.
really highlight how diverse it can look. For some people, success might be just having a basic conversation.
Right.
Ordering a coffee, asking for directions.
Mhm.
For others, it might be, understanding complex song lyrics or giving a presentation in English.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very personal.
I like that, because I mean, it goes back to the whole thing about why are you learning English? What are you going to use it for?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that was a really big takeaway, this idea that like you define what success is.
I agree. I think that's the most important takeaway from this whole conversation,
Sorry.
that it's really up to you and it has to be meaningful for you.
Right.
Otherwise, what are you working towards?
Right.
You have to be excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got to own it.
Yeah.
You've got to own those goals.
Exactly.
And speaking of goals, they talk about these 3 power words:
Yes.
perseverance, ambition, and resilience.
Powerful words.
And I have to admit, when I first saw those, I thought, okay, here we go with it,
The motivational poster.
yeah, like the motivational cliches, but they actually weave these into the conversation in a really insightful way.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting is how they connect it back to the reality of language learning,
Mm-hmm.
because they acknowledge that, it's not always going to be easy.
Right.
There are going to be times when you hit a plateau.
Yeah,
You get frustrated. You might even want to give up.
absolutely.
And that's where these power words come in.
So tell me, how do these words, how do they play into it?
Well, so, perseverance is that grit, that determination that keeps you going.
Okay.
Even when you don't see immediate progress.
Yeah.
You're not fluent overnight.
Right.
It takes time. It takes effort.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Right.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that's perseverance. It's trusting the process
I like that. Yeah.
and believing that, those small, consistent efforts that you make, they will eventually pay off.
Right. Right.
They actually use the analogy of learning to ride a bike,
Oh, yeah.
which I thought was really great.
Yeah.
You're going to fall a few times, you're going to get scraped knees.
Yep.
But you get back up, dust yourself off, and you keep practicing.
Totally. And eventually you're writing without even thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And language is the same way.
I love that. Yeah.
And then there's ambition.
Right. Right.
Which we all need a little bit of, to really push ourselves.
Absolutely.
But I think they encourage us to think about it in a more nuanced way.
Yeah.
It's not just about these big, lofty goals.
Okay.
Like, I want to be fluent in English.
Right. It's more about like, what do you actually want to do with it?
Exactly. What do you envision yourself doing once
Okay.
you have this skill?
Okay.
So it might not be, working for the UN, but it might be watching your favorite British TV show without subtitles.
Totally.
Or traveling to a country where English is spoken and being able to communicate.
Yeah.
So it can be big, it can be small, but it has to be meaningful to you.
Yeah. And it can evolve, right?
Absolutely.
Like maybe at the beginning, your ambition is just to, order food in a restaurant.
Right.
But then as you get better, maybe you want to read a novel in English.
Exactly.
Or write something.
Yeah, it's your journey.
Right.
And it can change.
And then the last one, resilience.
Yes.
This one, to me, feels like super, super relevant to language learning
Definitely.
because we all make mistakes
Oh, yeah.
all the time, constantly.
That's how we learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think resilience is all about seeing those mistakes not as failures,
Okay.
but as opportunities for growth.
So it's not like beating yourself up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about saying, okay, I made a mistake. What can I learn from it?
Right.
How can I do better next time?
And they had this great line where they were talking about, how in language learning, failure is just feedback,
Yeah.
right? It's not the end of the world.
It's information.
Yeah, it's information. You're getting information. Okay, I need to adjust this. I need to pronounce this better, whatever it is.
Exactly.
So we've got these power words. We've got to have the right mindset. But how do we actually put all of this into practice?
Right, because it can feel a little bit abstract.
Totally.
Like, okay, have a growth mindset, be resilient, but like, how?
Yeah, exactly.
And the good news is the source material actually gives us some concrete strategies for doing that.
Okay, good. Lay on me.
So one of the key concepts to talk about is the growth mindset.
Okay, this sounds familiar. This is ringing a bell.
Yeah, so it's basically this idea that your abilities aren't fixed,
Okay.
but they can be developed through effort and learning.
So it's not that I'm bad at languages, it's that I'm not good yet.
Exactly. Instead of saying, I'm not good at languages, you say, I'm not fluent in English yet, but I'm working on it.
I love that yet.
Yes.
It's so powerful.
It's all about the yet.
Yeah, it's like it's coming, it's on its way.
It's a journey.
Right, it's a journey.
You're not there yet, but you will get there.
Okay, so growth mindset, got it, check.
Check.
But I'm also a big fan of structure. I like to have a plan, set goals.
All right, have something to work towards.
Yeah. So did they talk about that?
They did. They actually dive into this concept of SMART goals.
Okay, tell me more.
So SMART is an acronym.
I love a good acronym.
It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, so it's not just I want to be fluent in English.
No.
It's like breaking it down.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, your goal is to expand your vocabulary.
Okay.
Instead of saying, I want to learn more English words.
Right, which is super vague.
Very vague, yeah. A SMART goal would be something like, I will learn 10 new words related to my hobby every week for the next month.
Okay, so I see. It's specific, it's 10 words, it's measurable. You can actually count those words.
Exactly.
It's achievable, it's relevant to your interests, so you're more likely to stick with it.
Right, you're more motivated.
And it's time-bound. You've got that 1-month deadline.
Exactly.
No, I like it.
So it gives you this framework, this structure to really work toward your goals.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got our goals, but how do we actually, learn,
Right, because setting goals is only half the battle.
Totally. What are the strategies, the tactics?
So one of the key themes that emerges from the conversation is the importance of continuous learning.
Continuous learning. Okay, so, not just in the classroom.
Exactly. It's about immersing yourself in the language as much as possible,
Okay.
even outside of structured study time.
So, watching movies in English,
Yeah.
listening to podcasts.
Podcasts, music, even just changing the language settings on your phone. Oh, yeah.
To English. Little things like that.
Right.
That just expose you to the language more and more.
I like that. Make it a part of your life.
Exactly. Make it a habit.
Yeah. And they also talk about time management.
Yeah, because even with the best intentions, it's so easy to let language learning kind of slip down the priority list.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Life gets in the way.
Right.
So they recommend actually scheduling dedicated study time.
Okay.
Just like you would for any other important commitment.
Put it in the calendar.
Put it in the calendar, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 15 minutes a day.
Okay.
The key is consistency.
Consistency. I think that's huge.
And also finding a language partner or joining an online community.
Oh, yeah. That can be really helpful.
It can be, really motivating to have that support system.
Right, to practice with.
Yeah, and to get feedback from other learners.
And to, kind of commiserate with each other when things get tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, don't underestimate the power of stepping outside your comfort zone.
That's a good one.
Yeah, challenge yourself, watch a movie without subtitles.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is, but it's really effective.
Yeah.
Or strike up a conversation with a native speaker.
Okay, that's scary.
It can be, but, you'd be surprised how friendly and welcoming people are.
Right.
And even try giving a presentation in English.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
It is, but it's a great way to really push yourself and see how far you've come.
Yeah, it's like trial by fire, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But I think it's important to kind of, circle back to this idea of success is personal.
Yes.
Right? Because we can talk about all the strategies and the mindset and the goals, but ultimately it's up to you to decide what success looks like for you.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really empowering message.
Yeah.
It's about taking ownership of your learning journey.
And the source material ends with this really inspiring quote from Winston Churchill.
Oh, I love Winston Churchill quotes.
Right. It says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Powerful.
Isn't that great?
I love that. Yeah.
And I think it really encapsulates this whole idea that, language learning is a journey.
It's a marathon.
And it's not a destination.
And it's about, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
Even when it gets tough.
Even when you make mistakes. Even when you feel like giving up.
Yeah.
So as we kind of, wrap up our deep dive here today,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
What specific action will you take today to move closer to your definition of success?
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
So think about that. Set a small, achievable goal.
Write it down.
Write it down. Yeah, 3 steps that you can take to achieve it.
And think about a potential challenge you might face.
Yeah, because those will come up.
It will.
And then how you're going to overcome it.
So you're prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for our deep dive today.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was fun.
I learned a lot.
Me too.
Always do.
But remember, as you continue on your English learning journey, success is yours to define.
It really is.
What does it truly mean to you?
Yeah.
And what steps can you take today to make it a reality?
Go for it.
Go for it. That's right.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.